Hola chicos, I just want to walk you through what I recommend that you do in class today and tomorrow to prepare yourselves to successfully complete our first assessment. So you're in Schoology, you're in the folder. Um, if you open up the assessment to-do list, well, you can actually open up two things. This will walk you through kind of exactly the steps I recommend that you do today and tomorrow in class while I'm conferencing with students in order to make sure you're ready to be successful in the assessment. But you can actually access these materials a couple of different ways, but I'll start with this. So when you are hopefully listening to this Monday morning, the first thing you need to do is make sure you've completed all 7 tareas in the Unit 1 Schoology checklist. If you haven't done any of those, start there. The next thing is for you to, if you've not finished writing your rough draft, you need to do that with minimal outside resources. I mean, if you need to look up a word or something, but otherwise you really want to try to rely only on your own brain to see what you're able to do. Once you finish your rough draft and you're ready to conference with me to get some, feedback, I should say mini conference, you're going to click on this link. You should have editing access to this document. You'll click on your class. So like if you're in third period, you'll click on third period. You'll put your first and last name here. When you have study hall and your study hall teacher, I'm hoping to get all these conferences done in class, but just in case I need to pull you, this information is helpful. Once I start seeing names in here, I'll start calling students up to come and chat with me. Now, while you're waiting to conference with me, we don't want to waste any time. So while you're waiting, the next thing you want to do is open up the Learning Targets document, and you're going to self-assess your rough draft against that target, and I'll hyperlink that in that document as well. But you can also find all of the test preparation materials in the folder that is called Preparing for the Assessment, which for these guys I'm going to move up. Okay, so if you open up the folder, here's the to-do list, which we were just in. This is the learning targets and feedback form. So if you are looking at this document, you want to have your rough draft in front of you, and this just reminds you of what you're going to be asked to do. Write an introduction of a letter about yourself to a potential host family for a Spanish immersion travel experience this summer. So here's our 4 learning targets. So you want to look at your draft. I can express what I like and don't like to do in my free time. We're defining success in this target as being able to communicate at least 3 of your likes and dislikes and explain why. So you want to look back at your draft to see if you have that, or if you only express 1 to 2 things, or if that's not part of your writing, then you can kind of indicate for yourself where you're at. Now, if you're like, I need to look at more activities to add, here's a link to the Quizlet, which has a bunch of activities. You can totally also use word reference there. Now, explaining why, I actually might have to go back into my example. I'm trying to remember if I even did that, but I'll do that. Next, I'm going to look for characteristics of my personality. So you want to look back at your draft to make sure you communicated at least 4 traits that you are or are not. That would be defined as success. Progress would be 2 to 3, and if you don't have any, that would be not yet. If you're like, I need some more adjectives, I want these people to really kind of know who I am, here's a link with additional adjectives. I can explain why I want to learn Spanish. So the expectation is for success that you communicate at least 1 reason why you want to learn Spanish. Look at your draft, make sure you have that. Maybe you're like, I communicated my reason, but I know that it wasn't complete or it wasn't totally comprehensible. Maybe there are some mistakes. I have 2 resources here for you. One is the Quizlet with like the vocab you need, and the other one, this is the slideshow that had the 6 reasons. So if you want to check it, or feel free to check those out. And then the next 2, I can use connectors and impact words to make my message more interesting and complex. I'm defining success in like an intermediate low level in this target as at least 5 connectors and impact words, not including E. So you can go ahead and kind of see where you fall on that. Progress would be at least 3, and not yet would be if you only had 1 to 2. Now, if you're looking to add some more impact and connectors or practice them, here's that Quizlet. And I also highly recommend you take some time looking at some of the examples that you guys did on Friday during Friday's activity. That have all of these things highlighted. Lastly, we were looking at creating sentences with language by combining and recombining known elements. So again, success being defined as having at least 3 original sentences showing combining and recombining. Progress being 1 to 2, and not yet is not having any yet. And again, the highlighted examples, the underlined sentences will show you what I would define as combining language. You can see me if you have questions on that. So after you do that, the next thing is I have another video that I'm also going to hyperlink in here that will walk you through me analyzing my examples. There's not sound on it, but you can actually, I think it's pretty obvious, so you may not even have to watch the whole thing, but watch me do my writing, and then you can go ahead and type up your draft in a Google Doc, just as you wrote it. I mean, you can obviously add to it and make corrections, and then you're going to analyze it the same way as the highlighted example. And I think I may have you guys turn this in as well so I can take a look at it. I'm hoping that this could be some stuff that's done on Monday. On Tuesday, you guys are going to use the linked resources I just shared on the learning targets to continue to revise and improve your draft. And at that point, I'm recommending that you go into Quizlet and you make a personalized Quizlet. So I'm actually going to show you how to do that. So if you go into Quizlet and you sign into your account, you literally just go to create. So you can call this whatever you want to call it, like Unit 1 test or assessment, letter, whatever. So you can either just look at your draft and pick out isolated words, like maybe you have trouble remembering quiero, or maybe you want to put in a full phrase or a short sentence in there. But the whole point is making a Quizlet that has the language that you really need to practice to successfully complete your assessment. So you can make that be whatever you need it to be. At that point, after you've created your Quizlet, practiced it, you really improved and edited your draft, I would definitely consider too, like the drafts that I shared, the drafts that we looked at on Friday, look at those as like mentor texts and consider like, can I use any of the things that are in here and apply it to mine to make my draft stronger? I would then recommend that you pair up with a partner. You guys can read each other's letters, give each other some feedback, and also then look at that as a way that to get additional ideas for how you can improve your own writing. Then I would encourage you just to kind of practice on your Quizlet and then just practice writing out your draft additional times until you're really confident, which will hopefully be by Wednesday when I'm hoping that we'll all be taking the test. You will be ready to take the test. After you do all kind of if you continue to improve and correct your draft after we conference and you want additional feedback, feel free to seek out any feedback from classmates, or if you want to like see me or email me, I of course be more than willing to give you additional feedback. I'm really excited for you guys to all just do an awesome job on our first assessment. Yay!